Hi, welcome to this edition of Sojourners Along the Way. And we have the map there because we're going to be journeying very briefly to a couple of different countries, but a couple of places, several places in the United States. In fact, we want to start with a big thank you to the American Red Cross. This is being recorded in the month of March, which is the Red Cross month, okay? March is designated as the month for the American Red Cross, and I really want to put in a big plug for the American Red Cross because they are there. They are first response people, and they are volunteers. There are very, very few people in the American Red Cross who are salaried. And when Harvey happened, I personally know of two people from Athens County, Ohio, who went down to help the people who had been so devastated by Harvey. And they're all over the place. The American Red Cross is international, and they help people in other countries too. So I want to applaud them, and I really want to encourage you to become a blood donor. I have A negative blood, and in the past I donated very infrequently because I wanted to be able to donate whenever there was a need for A negative. Well, there's a need. There is a drastic need in the United States because of all of the crises that have happened, the disaster, the natural disasters that have occurred in numerous places in the United States. There's always a need. So I presently donate blood every 56 days. Please check out with the American Red Cross if you can donate or not. They know that answer.
When you're cold and tired and hungry, when you need a helping hand, we're the ones that want to find you, bring your hopes to life again. If the world falls down around you, leaving marks upon your soul, we will help you find some comfort, lift you up and make you whole. The American Red Cross, like a beacon in the night, opens up the darkness and helps you reach the light. The American Red Cross, we're your neighbor and your friend, finds the hurt and finds the lost. The American Red Cross. When our servicemen are lonely for their family in the States, we'll be there with friendly words, help to share that lonely weight. We're the ones who ride to rescue when no one else will go, keep you safe from all that harms you, pick you up and take you home. The American Red Cross, like a beacon in the night, opens up the darkness and helps you reach the light. The American Red Cross, we're your neighbor and your friend, finds the hurt and finds the lost. The American Red Cross. On land and sea and air, you would always find us there, making tiny miracles, showing how we care. American Red Cross, like a beacon in the night, opens up the darkness and helps you reach the light. The American Red Cross, we're your neighbor and your friend, finds the hurt and finds the lost. The American Red
And I want to give you an invitation. Sojourners Along the Way is always looking for new ideas, programs you would be interested in, or programs that you would like to do. I give you that invitation. So please contact Sojourners Along the Way. Easiest way, fastest way is to contact through email, which is sojourners3.tv@gmail.com. Sojourners is spelled Sojourners, and that is a fantastic way. Another way you can contact us is through phone. Please, if you're calling for Patricia, please don't leave a message on the phone. Please call back. But that phone number is 740-592-2529, and the physical address is 507 Richland Avenue, Suite 100, Athens, Ohio. That's Athens, Ohio, 45701. Thank you. And I want to give an applause to Ohio University, which happens to be my alma mater, but we will be just briefly in Athens, so I use this image because I love it. It says Ohio University, 1804, that's the year that it was begun. The class gateway, religion, morality, and knowledge being essential, I'm saying that word, it says necessary, to good government and the happiness of mankind, humankind, please. Schools and the means of education shall forever be encouraged. We all need to get educated. And I said we're going to be doing a journey. I was born and raised in New Jersey. The very first place that I ever drove a car was in New Jersey. And then I moved out to Ohio. And you're going to see these symbols again because I'm going to take you on a brief journey through the different places that I have lived. And also, we're going to have a little bit of trivia, okay? I'm showing you these images because I want to ask you a question. When you get a driver's license, how many languages is that driver's license issued? Now, I showed you New Jersey, then Ohio, now New Jersey, and now again Ohio, because that's how my life went. I was born, raised in New Jersey, came out to Ohio for Ohio University, went back to New Jersey because I had told my parents I wanted to delay going to school, and I was interested in traveling. My mom, bless her heart, my mom convinced me to move back to New Jersey, go to school, college, part-time, and to work part-time. And the carrot that she dangled in front of me was that they would give me a credit card so that way I could travel around the United States upon graduating from college. My mom was afraid that if I were to stop going to college, I would not return. Unfortunately, my mom did not live long enough. She didn't even see me go on to getting 16 years of college, 2.5 masters and two undergraduate degrees. So I went New Jersey, Ohio, New Jersey, Ohio, New Jersey, and then finally another state. I went to Florida, and yes, I did go to school there. And then I went to California. Now, question, I have shown you 4 states. 4 states where I had the opportunity to have driver's license, and I already mentioned it to you. How many languages do you think driver's license exams are offered in? Okay? New Jersey, Ohio, Florida, California, and I did live in Florida more than once because after I graduated, I went back to Ohio, and then my father was down in Florida, and he asked me if I would come be with him to help him during the last years of his life, which I did. Went back to Ohio. Then, big move, I went to China, and I worked in Wuhan, China. That was the first place. Notice I'm saying the first place that I worked when I was in China. I used a bicycle. Let me tell you, I would have loved to have driven a car there because you can do whatever you want. You want to make a left-hand turn while you're in the right-hand lane? No problem. You just go in front of all the traffic. You want to go down a one-way street in the wrong direction? No problem. You can do it there. Now, that was a number of years ago. I don't know if it's still that way. I hope not. Not with the population they have there. But I did work in Wuhan for over a year. Then I returned to Ohio. And then from there I went to Taiwan. Now in Taiwan, I had a moped and I was all over Taiwan. I had a blast. And then back to Ohio again. Next was back to China in Beijing. Now, if you don't like crowds, you don't want to go to Beijing because every time you step out your door, you're running into at least several thousand people, possibly a million, because there are lots of people in Beijing, China. And I worked there for 5 years, and I had a lot of fun there. But I would not want to drive in Beijing. Back to Ohio. Now, question. The languages used for the DMV exam. I asked you, how many languages do you think there are? I'm just going to show you a few. The states that I've already mentioned, and I would love to have you guess how many languages. New Jersey, my home state, offers the exam in 10 languages. Why? Why are they using 10 languages? And please note the languages that you have the opportunity to take the test in. How about the next state I lived, and I am presently here now in Ohio. How many languages do they have? They have a mere 8. New Jersey had 10. Now we're in Ohio, and it has 8 different languages used. Next, and I think this one was fun, Florida. Florida, they have 3. They have English, Haitian Creole, and Spanish. Isn't that interesting? Wouldn't you like to take it in Haitian Creole? I think that would be fun. The next state is California, and California does hold the distinction for having the most languages that are offered. 32 languages. Take your pick. What language would you like to take the exam in? California would be the place to do that. And yes, I am being sarcastic. This next one, I don't understand. Why does Kentucky, a neighbor of Ohio, which only allows 8 languages, why does Kentucky have 23? Could you imagine that? 23 languages to take the exam in. Now I'm going to show you the ones that I want to applaud. I want to say thank you very much for what they do. We start with, in alphabetical order, Arizona. How many languages do they offer their exam in? 1. South Dakota. They only offer it in 1 language. English. Isn't that supposed to be our national language? So, thank you, Arizona. Thank you, South Dakota. Thank you, New Hampshire. New Hampshire also only offers the exam in 1 language, English. Who else only has 1? Hawaii. Now, Hawaii, I could understand Hawaii offering their exam in more than 1 language because of the native people from Hawaii, and also there's a huge Japanese population in Hawaii, but they only offer it in 1 language. If these were trivia questions, how well would you have done so far? Who else only has 1 language, English, for their test? Kansas. Kansas, the home of Dorothy, only offers it in 1 language. Thank you very much, Kansas. Next on the list, Maine. Maine, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then we have Oklahoma. I want to sing the song, but I won't. So are you seeing how good these trivia questions would be? Utah, just one language. And what language is it? English. Let's applaud them, please. Utah, thank you. And last that I have in this list is Wyoming. If you know of others that I didn't catch, or you know of others that have lots of languages, I would be interested in knowing what you find out. Now, I want to present to you Massachusetts, because you can get a driver's license from there. They call it the RMV, and you can take their test, which is only 20 questions. I remember having to study my book, and the test had many questions on it, and Massachusetts offers it in how many languages? 25. Massachusetts offers it in 25 languages. Why do they offer it in 25? This next slide, I want to send this to everybody that has more than one language, every state that has more than one language, because somebody said Massachusetts offers their driver's license exam in 25 different languages, which is 24 languages too many. This is the United States of America. Our official language for the country is English. We need to require people to learn English. My grandparents were all born in Italy. They all came to the United States and learned English. They learned to read and write English. They raised their children to learn English. Now, they also taught their children Italian, but they knew that for their children's sake, the children had to learn English and they had to learn English. So I want to encourage us. Let's get back to English as our national official language. Thank you.
Hey, Jesus on the main line, tell him what you want. Jesus on the main line, tell him what you want. Jesus on the main line, tell him what you want. You gotta call him up and tell him what you want. You can call him up, I said call him up. Tell him what you want, yeah. Call him up, oh, call him up. Tell him what you want. Call him up, call him up. Tell him what you want. Call him up and tell him what you want. Oh, listen to me now, everybody. Well, his line ain't never busy. Tell him what you want. Oh, his line ain't never busy. Tell him what you want. Well, his line ain't never busy. Tell him what you want. Just call him up and tell him what you want. Are you ready now for this one? Well, if you're sick and you wanna get well, tell him what you want. Well, if you're sick and you wanna get well, tell him what you want. I said, if you're sick and you wanna get well, you gotta call him up and tell him what you want. Here we go. Just call him up, call him up. Tell him what you want. It's that easy. Call him up. I said call him up. Tell him what you want. Call him up. Call him up. Tell him what you want. Yeah. what you want. I said, call him up, tell him what you want. Call him up and tell him what you want.
Thank you, Bonnie, for that song. And please, don't ever give up on your prayers. And don't ever give up on the people you're praying for. Prayers are powerful. And as Bonnie sang, call them up, call them up. Did you know that God has a phone number? And that phone number is Jeremiah 33:3, which says, call unto me, and I will answer you, and show you great and mighty things that thou knowest not. Now, in the United States, something that I have had a huge burden for is our health. There's an epidemic, many epidemics in this country, diseases that don't have to be. And I want you to really read this. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. Let this be part of your prayer for the people that you love and you are concerned about. I'm hearing about all kinds of people having cancer, young children having cancer. And I'm not going to say that that's caused by the food we eat, but it has been documented that many of our diseases are related to the food that we put in our mouths. So please, the same person, doctors have to take a Hippocratic oath which says, do no harm. Above all, do no harm. Same person that they get that from said, let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. The population, the people of the United States are in dire need of learning that. Please, in your prayers, pray that we will not listen to the food industry. They spend millions of dollars on advertising, so that way you'll buy stuff in the crinkly bag, or you'll buy canned or processed foods, and they make it look so appetizing and so wonderful. And then the next thing you know, somebody is suffering from a disease. Please, 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 learn this. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food.
Tonight, the original diet. God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth. Did I use this one before? Did I use this one? Seems
I don't
like-
think in here.
Someone read it last week.
Yeah, that's right. Patricia read it because they quoted it. The guy, because Dan Bruckner quoted it wrong, and he corrected us on it. So that's why I was thinking, I thought I said this. We've heard this in this group. But the original diet was plant-based, and even if you don't take the Bible as a reliable source, the anthropologists tell us as well that our original diet was plant-based. Even though now they promote this paleo diet, the paleo diet they're promoting has nothing in resemblance to the hunter-gatherer diet, where they say it was probably well over 90 to 95% of our diet was plant-based, and occasionally you got an animal to eat. But generally it was plant-based. Jane Goodall, I heard her speak, and she said they estimate that the fiber content, we're looking for 40 grams of fiber. The fiber content estimate in the ancient diet was probably closer to 110 grams. That's when the roots and things that they gathered to eat were much more fibrous. We've bred the fiber out of our potatoes and things like that, and our carrots, so they're sweeter and less fibrous. So just kind of something to think about. Next week,
Oh,
potluck.
you did have the right reference there.
I had the right
Genesis
reference. Dan Booger did.
1:29. You had the wrong
thank
one.
you.
The wrong
So
one.
next week, plan to bring something to share that fits the things we're teaching. So a recipe that you come up with that you really like, that you'd like to share with us, please bring it. And my wife said she might even make something for me to bring, rather than me try to make something. So the hospital will provide the coffee and the water and the utensils. Just bring a dish to share, and we'll have a table set up, and be ready to share your recipe as well. If you want to bring it on a little card and set it by your dish, that would be great. And we can talk about, we'll have some time to talk about the recipes. So don't let that scare you away. If you're busy and you can't get here with a plate because you're working right up until the hour, then, you know, bring some fruit, bring some vegetables, raw vegetables, bring something to share. So the salad today that you're eating, hail to the kale, the recipe is 222, second section 22, and I got my parentheses backwards. There are salad dressings, additional salad dressing recipes right after that. The hummus that you're eating, recipe is there as well. Page 24, the second section. And for those of you who are expert bakers, you might like the cracker recipe. My wife has not cracked it yet. She's done it about 3 times and given up because every time it's just been either too soggy or too crisp. But if you like a challenge, you can try the cracker recipe. The idea is to make them sort of like, you've seen Crumbs crackers? That's what she wanted them to be like, but couldn't quite get there. Also be referring a little bit in the first tab to that ingredient substitution list. We're focusing specifically on dairy today.
These next images that we're going to look at are about the life expectancy according to the counties in the United States of America and according to whether you are a male or a female. I found this fascinating, but it also was very sad to see what is happening in the United States and the age expectancy. I'm going to take you through the men and the women. We're going to do men first, okay? Under the age of 74, that's the red. Then comes 74 to 77, blue. 77 to 80, yellow. Then over the age of 80. I'm showing you this individually, and then we're going to put them all together so you can see what it looks like for the men in the United States. Now let's do the same thing for the women. Under the age of 74, red. 74 to 77, blue. 77 to 80, yellow. Over 80 for the women. Who is expected to live over the age of 80? I was amazed that the women in the United States, the majority, look at that, the majority of the places in the United States, women live over 80 years old. So please, I'm going to say, put that in your prayers. Now, just to have a little bit of humor, let's move on. I thought this was cute when I found it. I put my scale in the corner, bathroom corner, and that's where that little liar will stay until she apologizes. Have you ever felt that way? I certainly have, and I certainly don't like what it says to me. But you know what? It's not a liar. It's telling us the truth, and it's saying the United States of America, the epidemic of health issues has to be battled, and one way to battle it is by us getting back into shape, and I'm definitely including myself, that's why I said us. We need to get the weight off of us. It's not a liar. It's telling us we have to do something. Also, please, 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 please pay attention. Pay attention. The cure is the food that we eat, or the Band-Aid. And I want you to see and pay attention to this next slide. I showed this type of slide before on a different program. Just Google side effects death. Just those 3 words, side effects death. You will be amazed about all the information that comes up on our prescription drugs that are killing us. Pharmaceutical companies are in the business for money. They want you to stay ill, sick, having diseases that they can drag on for years and years and years because they make money. I was first introduced to side effects, death, because of my father. And one of the medications he was taking had death listed as a side effect. I spoke to my personal doctor and I said, why is this allowed? How can they say a side effect is death? Death is permanent. It is not a side effect. That didn't go over very well. But anyway, I said it. And I want you to look at this slide because I want to encourage you. Google him. Watch his DVDs that you can get online because he blew the whistle about what was happening. He was working for Big Pharma and realized when he had a child of his own that they were in it for the money and they wanted to keep the children, starting with children. Again, I just said that we are now having children with cancer. I'm on a prayer chain and there's been several children, ages 7 and 8, that are on that because they are suffering from, the children are suffering from cancer, terminal cancer, 7 and 8 years old. This ought not to be happening in the United States of America. Please, please, please learn this. Again, I'm going to say it to you because I want you to get it into your head and your heart. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. And we're going to watch a short clip from a doctor that I consider a go-to doctor because he'll give you the information as it is, Dr. Michael Gregard.
The study I explored about how listening to Mozart can reduce allergic reactions reminded me of a similar study on humor. Take a bunch of people with dust mite allergies, half watched Charlie Chaplin, half watched the Weather Channel, then injected them with dust mite poop, and the allergic response was significantly reduced after viewing the humorous video for a matter of hours, suggesting that the induction of laughter may play some role in alleviating allergic diseases. But might it suppress our immune system too much? No. Have people watch a comedian for an hour, and their natural killer cell activity goes up, compared to watching nothing, and their white blood count goes up, the number of immune cells in their bloodstream. The level of immune-boosting interferon goes up and stays up the next day, and the same with antibody production, pumping out more antibodies because yesterday you saw some video. So humor seems to offer the best of both worlds, of preventing the overreactive allergic response while boosting immune protection. But you actually have to laugh. The more you laugh, the better your natural killer cell activity gets, but exposure to a humorous video alone did not significantly affect immune function. Those that didn't laugh, maybe because it was a Bill Cosby video, did not benefit, reinforcing that it's not the funny video that improves immune function, but our laughter in response. Because of the role natural killer cells play in viral illness and various types of cancer, the ability to significantly increase their activity in a brief period of time using a non-invasive method could be clinically important the next time you have a cold or cancer. Laughter, like music or healthy food, offers potential benefits without any risk, or almost any risk. You've heard of side-splitting laughter, 67-year-old woman attending laughter therapy sessions, and evidently rapture led to rupture. Thankfully, you can't actually laugh your head off, but you can laugh until you wet yourself. It's called giggle incontinence in the medical literature, actually quite common in women and no laughing matter. So the next time you're in the theater, should you choose the comedy over a tear-jerker given the benefits of humor? Not necessarily. If you take people with a latex allergy and have them watch a weather video versus a heartwarming drama, viewing the weather information video did not cause emotion with tears, I should hope not, and it failed to modulate allergic responses. The tear-jerker, however, successfully reduced the allergic response, but only in those whose tears were actually jerked. So to improve allergies, laughing works, crying works. I laughed, I cried, it was better than cats, especially if you have a cat allergy. Anything else you can do? Kissing. There's actually a whole science of kissing, which sounds a pleasant enough college major until you realize it's about all the diseases you can get. But if you take people with seasonal pollen allergies or dust mite allergies and have them kiss someone in a room for 30 minutes, they have a significant reduction in their allergic reactions for both the pollen and the dust mites, whereas if you just have them hug for a half hour instead, no benefit. Bottom line, kissing significantly reduced allergic responses in patients with both allergic rhinitis, runny nose, itchy eyes, or allergic dermatitis, like a rash. Collectively, these findings indicate that the direct action of love may be beneficial, though evidently cuddling wasn't quite direct enough. With all the side effects of antihistamine allergy drugs, you'd think it'd be easy to get people to sign up for the study, but this was done in Japan, where evidently they do not kiss habitually. The follow-up study, which found similar benefit for an action of love that was even more direct, was also performed by researchers for whom English may not have been their primary language, as evidenced by their speculation about females having more organisms.
Okay, why is fiber so important? It decreases the calories automatically if you eat foods that are rich in fiber. Only plant-based diet, only plants have fiber naturally. The processed foods tend to take fiber out. If any animal products have fiber, it's been put in there artificially. So fiber, if you think about it, it's on one, there's a couple of things. One is it's a filler. So any food, think French fries, small amount of French fries, because they're full of fat, which are high in calories, will give you the same amount of calories as something much bigger that's rich in fiber. Remember, we saw the full plate diet comparisons of the plate. The plates got bigger and fuller, but the calories went down. So fiber fills you up, and it decreases the calorie intake at the same time. So you're satisfied. You're not going around hungry, feeling like you've got to eat those high-calorie snacks. The other thing, fiber is just not a filler. It's important to your digestive tract. Actually, we've seen very clearly that the type of bacteria that grow in the intestinal tract of somebody who eats a plant-based diet is healthier and actually promotes health. And since you're asking, Cleveland Clinic did some really intricate studies that were pretty interesting about promoting heart disease. They noticed that people who were eating any kind of animal products, within 20 minutes, they can measure this jump in something called TMAO in their bloodstream, which promotes atherosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries. Then they thought, well, this might be coming from the bacteria in the intestinal tract. So they gave people antibiotics to kill all the bacteria. They again fed them a steak, no increase in the TMAO. After a while, as they ate and the bacteria came back, they started to get this increase again. Then they took some vegans, people not eating any animal products, gave them a steak, no increase in the TMAO, because people who are eating the plant-based diet grow different bacteria. The bacteria that are causing us harm, that produce that TMAO in the animal products are the ones we're feeding all the time when we're eating the wrong way. So they're there causing this constant state of inflammation. Some of you might have heard about an anti-inflammatory diet. Well, that's basically a plant-based diet. Animal products cause inflammation. This TMAO is part of that whole inflammation process that speeds up atherosclerosis, the heart disease, increases the risk of cancers, many types of cancers and things like that. So the question I have is then how, if you take somebody who's eating a plant-based diet on a regular basis, how often do they have to eat a steak before they start to have the negative effects? Because my guess is, I mean, if you're eating this way, I think you can have some turkey on Thanksgiving. I think you can have some, some birthday cake for your birthday. You can have, it's infrequent, I think it's going to be fine. I don't know what those numbers are. I'm sure somebody's looking at them. Is weekly too much? I grew up, we had meat maybe once a week, Sunday roast. And the rest of the week, it was mostly stuff from the garden. Is that too much? I don't know. But what we do in America is we eat like it's a holiday 3 times a day. And that's what's gotten us into trouble. So if we could space that out, we eat 90% or more of our food is plant-based, and the animal products become infrequent. Ice cream is a celebration, not a every night thing. It's when those things become a rare celebration, not a, I made it through another day, give me a scoop of ice cream. So, I got off on a tangent, but that's kind of where the fiber is. Something about fiber feeds the healthy bacteria for our bodies that keep us well. There's this whole idea of buying probiotics, which are the healthy bacteria that you can take. And then you can buy prebiotics to feed the healthy bacteria to keep them alive and well. Do you know what prebiotics are? Fiber. So just eat it. Don't go spend the money. And you'll grow a nice healthy mix of bacteria and fungus and all those good things that are supposed to be in your intestinal tract. So, any other questions? We got a couple more minutes.
I do have a question. With that study, are they trying to go, or I don't know if they, because it sounds like, meat eaters, there's a stereotype, and you'll be like a fast food person, just with a lot of processed food, the meat, and then vegans is the other extreme. But, what we're saying here in this spectrum, have they tried or have they mentioned that there's some interest in chicken? Someone who does whole foods and some,
I don't know.
Fish,
they took the average American who's eating animal products on a daily basis.
And processed food. Because the processed food aspect, I think, is a big factor that affecting the flora.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So eggs did it, cheese did it, fish, chicken, beef, any animal product caused this boost in TMAO, which accelerates atherosclerosis. So any of them did it. But again, the question I have is, how long, if you stayed away from that, what's the optimal interval? Because a lot of people aren't ready to say, I'm not going to ever eat it, but maybe once a week would be reasonable if you get the health benefits, which I'm sure you get more health benefits once a week than every day. So it's finding where that is, where you can sustain it, what will work for you long term, plus give you the health results that you want. Other questions?
Egg whites, are they okay as long as you're not eating the yolk?
The egg, well, the yolk is where the cholesterol is. The egg white is egg protein, albumin.
Right, so it's okay to do.
It causes that boost in the TMAO that we're talking about.
And the egg beaters would be the same?
Yeah, I think those are mostly the egg white, I'm sure. I think there are some...
There's some different, I've never really had them, but I was kind of looking at those the other day and I just wasn't sure.
I didn't need to read the label on them. I'm not sure what's in them. However, if you're looking for something to replace eggs, there's that, I think it's like page 120 something or other, PCRM replacement chart. Things you can do, and they have eggs. Here's some other things you can do in your recipes if you're trying to get away from eggs. If you like scrambled eggs, and tofu scramble recipe that's in there is pretty good.
Okay.
You know, it's not, I mean, you know it's not eggs, but it gives you, you put a little saffron or something in there to give that yellow color too, and it's like, wow, you know, color is there, and the consistency is there, and it's not bad. It tastes good. It doesn't taste like eggs, but it tastes pretty good. Any other questions? Okay, well, I hope you've got a nice list of things you're going to try. We're going to try some nice recipes that are plant-based. Come up with some of these kind of things, the burritos and the rice and beans and stir-fry and lots of options out there. So, parting thought, defeat is not the worst of failures. Not to have tried is the true failure. And you're here, so because you're here, I'm assuming you're trying some things, and you're finding success even because you're making some changes. So don't forget to take a walk. The colors are turning beautiful. Should be a nice weekend. Stay away from downtown, go to the park instead. Let everybody else go to the parade. Go out and walk in the woods. So, okay, we'll see you next week. Thank you very much.
I want to encourage you to go through the archives of Sojourners Along the Way, because I have done a number of programs. Sojourners has done a number of programs that address health issues. My favorites are the programs that have Dr. David Drozak, who is here locally in Athens. So if you're watching this on television, please, if you have any concerns, look up Dr. David Drozak. He has a lot of good information. In fact, one of the clips that was included in this program was about Dr. David Drozak. He does teach classes. I don't have any information on that, but you can get that by calling. And Dr. Michael Gregard, Nutrition Facts. A lot of good information. Jennifer Mack, somebody that I met while I was working in Beijing, has all kinds of recipes and good food, healthy food ideas that you can get. Please check it out. Now, you got to see the life expectancy in the United States. I want you to check this out. That woman lives in Japan. How old do you think she is? And I want you to watch what is happening here. This woman took up photography in her late 70s. Can you imagine that? She didn't start until she was in her 70s, and then when she was in her 80s, she was asked to please be the director of the New Year photo series in Japan. That's saying a lot. That is saying a lot more than you could ever understand, because of how the Japanese appearance is extremely important, and they want to put their best foot forward always. Always. And for them to ask somebody in their 80s to be the director, that tells you how good she is. In fact, if you Google her, you'll get to see some of her photography, and it is fun. It's hilarious. And on a happy note, there is a website that you can find, and it's called The Science of Happiness. Notice the question on this particular slide. What are you grateful for? Gratefulness, learning to be thankful for things, affects your health. Yeah, I'm focusing a lot on health, but you know what? I am so concerned about what's happening in the United States. And from a personal note, I am under a number of doctors' care because of what's going on in my physical body, but I have made drastic changes. I have become plant-based. I stopped eating meat because I learned of all the things that were happening that could be directly related to the food that I was eating. I had the opportunity to have an ultrasound, I think it was, of my artery in my neck. The technician said she had never seen an artery as clear as what mine was. It works, and it makes a difference. Okay, I'm speaking from personal experience. I have been on different medications, and because of the lifestyle changes I have made, particularly food-wise, I have been able to get off of one of my medications totally, and I've had others reduced. And my goal is to get off of all of my medications. I do believe in miracles, so that'll help. But I want to encourage you. You make lifestyle changes. Change the food. And I'm really not happy. It's like I hear about all these other people that make the same changes that I do, and they're losing weight, and I'm not, and I'm jealous, and I want to see the weight come off of me too. One of the problems that I had for this past year was I was iron deficient, and I did not have any energy, and I'm not used to that because I am an extremely high energy level person on a normal day-to-day basis. In fact, every time I tell somebody I only need 6 hours of sleep, they keep on saying, no, that's not enough, you need more. And I tell them, I don't have to set my alarm clock. After 6 hours, my body says, wake up, it's time to get going, it's a new day. And I'm tying that into the science of happiness because I want you to know, you're in good health, you'll be happier. You have energy, you'll be happier. Learn how to do things. Take up a new hobby. Can you imagine? That woman became a photographer for fun as a hobby in her late 70s. And she was asked to be the director when she was in her 80s. What about you? What can you do? Get out there, do something, take walks. Get reacquainted with something that you used to do in your youth. What about if you have children and grandchildren? What can you do with them? Be active, be active. Get out and play. Get in the sunshine. Do something good and healthy for yourself, and you will be happy.
All creation cries out with longing, with groans only you can comprehend, and with wisdom you always answer. Give the words of life so unfailing. All your glory shines all around us. Your faithfulness for us to see. When we think of all of your wonders, the beauty of your plan has been revealed. When we walk in your light, when we walk in it, shine bright. Let your glory fill this land. Lift high the King of Kings and great I am, Jesus. You are the way. You are the way. We can see the works of your loving hands, with a hope and peace not made by man. When you poured out your grace and your mercy, held out your arms so we could see. You bled for all mankind. Whoa! and set the captives free. Shine bright, let your glory fill this land. Lift high, the King of Kings and great I am, Jesus. You are the way, you are the way. Na 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 na, Jesus. Na 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 na, you are the way. Na 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 na, Jesus. You are the way. Shine bright, let your glory fill this land. Lift high, the King of Kings and great I am, Jesus. You are the way, you are the way, Jesus. You are the way, you are the way. Oh, shine bright, let your glory fill this land. Lift high, the King of Kings and great I am, Jesus. You are the way, you are the way.